Whoa! Oh! Just kidding. That's a fun road right there. So the end of the riding season is coming upon us, and in Minnesota we have two seasons, for me anyways. We have riding season and we have motorcycle modification season. So one thing I've been working on is I want to mount some LED lights on the KTM, but there's just so little space. Isn't it dirty? Mabel is dirty. I call her Mabel because she may be able. It's pretty dirty. We had a really dusty ride last weekend. But anyways, I've wanted to mount some LED lights, and I got these little lights here, as you can see here, from Amazon. They're pretty bright. I think they're, if I remember, they're like between 5,000 and 7,500 lumens for the pair. So the problem was to mount, because I have really no space to mount on here. The headlight is kind of plastic and just no place. So I came up with these brackets here to mount to the fork here, like so. And I did that. I mounted the bracket, but when I first put it on, it was real flimsy. It was just kind of flopping around all over, so I wanted to add this backbone. And what I want to do today is do a little demonstration on how to solder aluminum. I don't have a welder. I wish I did. And if I did, I'm a horrible welder, so it wouldn't matter. It would look like crap anyways. Anyways, I added this backbone to stiffen it up. And I will do a demonstration on how that works. But first, had a little evolution going on. My initial thought was to, I'm a machinist, so my initial thought was to mount these to the forks down here, around the fork, and hold the lights. But then I had clearance issues coming over to this side. As you can see, that goes way in there. Maybe better on this side, you can see better. It goes way in there, so I needed something that would come out and miss everything, and so I came up with, these brackets here, so I can go inside the fairing there and still have the light sticking out without any obstruction. So I'll go into more detail on how I prepare these things. Well, maybe I should just do it now. My little workshop here. First thing I do, I don't have my original pattern for the bracket itself, but like for the backbone, for instance, there it is. For the backbone, for instance, I made this cardboard pattern. This is just out of an old beer box. It's thin cardboard. Oops, you can bend it easily. Because I have some complex angles here that I had to deal with, so I needed something that I could make a pattern out of, and that's what I came up with. That's what I use, cardboard. I just kind of draw out an idea, see if it works, see if it fits, and then go with that. The other tool I have for doing these things is this little brake from Harbor Freight. It's kind of a piece of crap when you first buy it, because you have to use C-clamps to clamp here or wherever to hold your piece, which what happens is that the bar can move and your angles will be off more than they normally would be off. So what I did was I drilled and tapped, or I drilled through this bar, the brake bar, some holes, and I tapped into the brake itself, so that I could hold the bar down, and depending on how wide or narrow a piece I have, I could do that. And I also added some screws down here that act as a square. You can see that. I can get myself out of the way. They square up the part, so I have a screw there and a screw there and all over, so I can square up my parts easily. And you can make, I was just fooling around, you can make, you know, on this brake, this is I think it's 3/32 aluminum. You can make things like this. I was just playing around. Little brackets like that. You can make little stuff like this. Here's the evolution of that, of my bracket here that I made these pieces. Like I said, ended up with this configuration here. What else? Oh, for welding rods, or brazing rods, I had some, but they didn't really work very well. The melting temp of them was too high, and the strength was just not quite there. So while I was doing some research, I ran across a YouTube channel called Project Farm, and I'll leave a link to his channel. And he just so happens he was doing a review on multiple brazing rods for aluminum. And this is the one that won out. It's Hobart Aluminum 1/8 weld or brazing rods. And my initial test is they are excellent. The melting point is very low as advertised, and the strength is phenomenal. You can see the results of my first attempt here with this bracket. And get the camera to focus. And it's kind of tough because I had to mount it like this, and part of my brazing was going downhill, so I'll have to clean that up with my Dremel or something, make it look purties. So what else? A vise. What I use to clean my my aluminum is this wire cup wheel. They say you should use either sandpaper or a stainless steel wire brush, and I just found that takes too much elbow grease, and that wire cup wheel, this sucker will remove anything quickly and easily, including skin. So if you use a wire cup wheel, make sure you got a good pair of leather gloves, or leather gloves. Even these, you hit these and you'll feel it. Just to make my cutouts for the aluminum, I use just a plain old jigsaw with a metal cutting blade on it. That's it. So let me see how, what else can I tell you? Just for making some simple measurements, I use my calipers. So you can use a caliper as a scribe. So if you want to do a 1-inch scribe, you can just run it along the edge of your material and put some pressure on it. It'll scribe a line for you. So just a simple, you think these are, got these at a local lumber yard for like $10.99 or something. I don't know what it was. I'm a machinist, so I have some really nice ones at work, but I use that here. Also modified pair of vice grips as a brake. I welded these pieces on here so I can make some smaller complex bends easily, and show you a picture or two of some stuff I did for a buddy of mine. So let's get busy with the brazing on this thing, and we'll see you in a minute. I got to get set up. So I've set up my my part in the vise, and put the backbone on, and I have a clamp. I will say it's important, whatever piece you have on here, whatever you're trying to braze, make sure it's a good tight fit. You don't want any, you can have some gaps, not a lot of huge gaps, because you want full contact as much as possible. This part is already cleaned. Here's the brazing rod. I've already used this, obviously, and so let's get busy. The temperature on this, for the melting point for this, is about I think it's 721 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. So I'm just using regular propane. You can use MAP gas. MAP gas will get the job done a little quicker, but propane works just fine. You don't want to. I don't like using MAP gas too much on aluminum because it can deform the aluminum. It can get it to aluminum melting point is like 11 or 1200 degrees. So what you want to do with this stuff is you want to heat the aluminum, not the rod. You want the rod to be able to melt into the aluminum itself. So just go around and heat it up. You can do an initial test. Get it to melt. It's not melting yet. You can come on the back side and do that too. Underneath, you want to get the aluminum dissipates heat, or it spreads heat out pretty quickly, so you got to have your heat right on point as much as possible. It should only take a minute or two for this to heat up. Hopefully I won't run out of gas. This tank's running on empty. I'll turn it up a little bit. Just keep rubbing it on. There it goes, starting to melt now. Bring it down and around. This should melt pretty easily on this side, pretty quickly. Try and wrap this a little bit. I'll have to clean that up with my Dremel later on. It's melting all the way around now. You can kind of spread this evenly. Bring it down. Oop, I got way too much on there. A lot of Dremel work to do. Put this underneath. She's liquefied all right. I want to clean that up a little bit. You can heat the solder after it's on, and then just kind of smooth it out as you see fit. Get underneath and let her melt a little bit. It does cool down quite rapidly. Just want to wrap this one around a little bit. And I got one little spot right there I need to touch up. There we go. There we go. That's it. I'll let that cool down. I can probably take my clamp off now. I got way too much in that corner there. I got a lot. Got a lot. Get my... Don't touch this, it's hot. See the results. That looks pretty good there. I think if I could see that in the camera. Try and get some light on it, some better light. There it is. There's the inside where I got way too much. Way too much on the inside there. But that's okay. I'll be able to Dremel that out. I got one little pinhole there that'll just have to do. So I hope that was helpful. Really not sure what else to add. Oh, I got a pinhole there. Doggone it. That'll be alright. So like I said, let this cool down by itself. Don't dunk it. Yeah, I got a little Dremel work to do, but you can see here it turns out pretty good. I'll just leave that in the vise, let it cool. Hope that was helpful. Don't know what else to say except that's how I do things. Maybe it's a little blacksmithish, little rough, but it works. And if you're on a tight budget or whatever, I think these rods cost for a pack of 7 about $18, something like that, with free shipping onto Amazon. And for just making little projects like this, it works out pretty good. Thanks for watching. A little rough maybe. That looks pretty good though. Some Dremel work there. You can see a close-up of this one. That'll have to do for now. So again, thanks for watching. Don't be too harsh on me. Bye.